Hey, one of the reasons I'm doing some Mazda Protege5 videos today is because a family member needs a fuel pressure sender replaced on the fuel tank. So we did a couple other things as well while he's over here. And but the main thing is the fuel pressure sender, the fuel tank sender. And it's got the fuel gauge, fuel pump, and everything inside of it. And it's located on the Protege5. You lift up the seat, flap it forward, and under this flap in the middle there's 4 screws you take out, and underneath there will be the fuel tank sender. There's the wires for it. So we're going to pop that off and see what we find under there. Obviously, don't smoke while you're monkeying around near the fuel tank. That's probably not even worth saying, because I don't think anyone would even do that. But anyway, okay. Well, unfortunately, you're lucky you can't smell this, because I can smell fuel, and it appears it is leaking from one of the press-on clips, the quick fittings, the quick connect fittings here. I'm not sure, but that would appear to be, yeah, that's fuel. Anyway, yeah, this stinks like hell, so we're going to have to remove this sender. Now, a lot of the times guys will destroy these clips. They push in from the sides, the orange, or sorry, the yellow or greenish part here. Those push in and slide out. And a lot of people just ham fist them out, and it looks like someone here pried it with a screwdriver, so maybe the O-ring inside there is leaking. There's an O-ring inside where this hose, the hose on this fitting here that goes inside the plastic fuel line, there's an O-ring in there that seals it, and more than likely that has gone bad, because there's no reason for the tank to leak at the very top. There's only half a tank of gas in this car, so it wouldn't be leaking, sloshing around enough to leak out the top. So if you look how loose this line is, and as I said, you can see, let me see if I can get a close-up here for you. I'm going to put this funky little eBay close-up lens. Does that work? Okay. Wow, that does work. Okay, see that that fuel line? Man, that really does work. You can see the plastic fitting on it. You can see where someone's pried on it right there. Wow, it's like a microscope. Someone's pried on it with a screwdriver, so they probably monkeyed it up. This one doesn't look like it's been pried on. Wow, that magnifying lens is pretty neat. But unfortunately, it only works like 2 inches away from everything. It doesn't work far back. So yeah, I'm going to check that and see if that's where it's leaking. Yeah, this lens sucks kind of from far back. Okay, I popped this magnifying lens back on because I don't think you can see it otherwise. But right around the bottom of the fuel, you see the fuel squirting there? I've got the car running, and it's basically the only way to try and find out where the fuel is coming from. But yeah, when I move this fitting on the top of the fuel tank sending unit, you see the fuel squirting out there? So that's where your leak is. And the other one doesn't really move, it's solidly in there. So, yeah, that's where this one is leaking. So we're going to be replacing this this whole sending unit. Okay, to replace the sending unit, you're going to have to first remove this. Looks like these aren't the stock screws. Looks like someone's had this problem, obviously, with this car before my family member bought it. Anyway, these are all, well, one of them's a Robertson screw, and the rest are Phillips screws. So we're going to be taking all these screws out and lifting the body out, and then I'll show you how to remove these quick connect fuel lines. Okay, I've got the car turned on and running because I'm trying to figure out which one's the pressure line, which one's the return line. Because obviously your engine, your fuel pump pressurizes fuel and sends it to the front, to the fuel pressure regulator and the fuel rail. And whatever's not needed by the engine comes back and dumps back into the fuel tank. Now, it's pretty easy on this car because the fuel tank pumps inside the gas tank. So when I put my fingers on this one, I can feel a pulsation. I can feel this thing is pulsing. That means this one's the fuel pump. This one, tiny little bit of a pulsation, but this one's the return line. So this is where the fuel is coming back and dumping into the tank. This one is the one the fuel is coming out of. So if we just disconnect these hoses right now, even if the car is turned off, there's going to be pressurized fuel in there. We don't really want that because it's going to spray out all over us. So the first thing we're going to do is look for the fuel, leave the car running. We're going to look for the fuel pump fuse under the hood, or it could be under the driver's kick panel. Not 100% sure, haven't had to do one on this car before, but you know, most cars are the same. You're going to have to unhook, just pull the fuel pump fuse, and that will turn the fuel pump off, and when the engine dies, you will no longer have pressure in the fuel line, and you're safe to open this up. Okay, so there's no fuel pump fuse marked on this car, under the hood or under the driver's kick panel, so I just unhooked the fuel pump here at the connection to the fuel pump, unhooked it, and after about 5 seconds the car died. So now there won't be any pressure, or very, very little, in the fuel lines when we unhook these. So you can do that too. We're going to have to remove the sending unit anyway, so I just popped the electrical connection off, push the pin in, pull it out. And it's basically the same as removing the fuse. It cuts the fuel pressure and the engine will eventually die, and that will leave no pressure left in the lines. Okay, here you see the fuel pump we got from the wrecking yard to replace it. The new one's like $600. This one's like $50 at the wrecking yard, $60. And these are the little snap connectors for the fuel line, the quick connects. Now see these two little fingers on the side? These have to be pushed in as the black part on the outer pulls out. The new one, they just cut it off at the wrecking yard. They cut the fingers off, so when you put it back in, it'll just go over, and then those little snap rings will go, fingers will go in there. Now, to pull them out, really small screwdriver, and be very careful. Slip it in and under, and you're pushing in on the green plastic connector so that the finger moves in, and you'll just gently pry it out, not hard, and then spin it and do the other side, and just gently wiggle it out of there. And there you go. So the new line, the line that's on the car will just snap onto that when we go to put it back on, but we're going to clean this up and paint it so it doesn't rust any further. Okay, so we've unhooked the lines on the sender that's in the car, and we got the pressure line and the return line. And yeah, these were mangled up a little bit. I had said before there might be an O-ring gasket in there. It appears that there are no O-rings in the Mazda ones. So now we're just going to remove the bolts that hold in the sending unit, and that'll be back. You must think you have like 20 cars. Okay, ready to pull the sending unit out now. Now this you don't need to unhook this. This is just wiring going back. This is going back to your back lights and stuff, to the back of the car. So don't worry about this. This just tucks under. And we're going to lift this sucker out, and you're probably going to want, oh, I missed a screw there. You're probably going to want to bring a plastic bag or a box or something into the car so that you can put it in there and not make a mess, because you don't want to be dripping gas in your back of your car, because you'll smell it forever. Take a couple of weeks for the stink of gas to go away, so best to bring something in here to put it in, because it is going to be drippy. I'm going to show you some parts of the sending unit just so you know what they are when you get them. This is a filter sock. This keeps sediment and crap in the bottom of your tank from being sucked up into the fuel pump. This is the fuel pump, the electric fuel pump, and the connections. And this is just the float to tell your fuel gauge, how much fuel you have in the tank. And that's about it. The return and pickup line, and obviously the pickup line for the pump is at the bottom of this sock. So yeah, make sure your sock's not damaged. It shouldn't be ripped. I mean, you can probably pull this off of the old one if you've got a new one and it's got a rip in it, but this one doesn't. It's like a little bag, cloth bag, that just sucks the fuel through and filters it out before it gets to the into the lines and into the regular fuel filter. Okay, now we're going to slip the new pump in since the paint's dried on it, and you can see that the sock and the float have to go in first. Might need to use another hand for a second. Sorry about that, to push the float in. And then gently lower it down. And then line up the holes. And we're going to screw that back in and then pop the fittings in. Now I filled the electrical connector here with dielectric grease, just so that won't cause a problem in the future. We are in the rust belt here, so rust and snow and salt and crap gets up in there. And I put a little bit of grease on the fittings here so these will go together nicer and hopefully stay together and maybe make a little bit of a seal in there. But these will just snap back on. Just line up the tabs with the holes on the side of the fuel line and snap them back on. They're just a quick snap on, but I'm not going to do that until I put the screws in and screw the pump, the sender unit body back down. Okay, we got the new sending unit in. We've popped the pressure line on, and we're just going to pop the return line. I'm going to show you. They just slip over and snap on. As I said, dielectric grease in there. This electrical connector for the rear lights just slides onto this tab on top. Should slide back onto it. There we go. And then your plug for the sending unit. Does not want to pop on for some reason. Oh, I know why. Hold on a second. Okay, I just had a little too much dielectric grease in there. It was pushing, it wasn't able to compress in there properly. But now it's on, and we're going to start this car and look for leaks and pray. So let's see what happens. Okay, car's been running for a couple of minutes and we still have no leaks, so looks like we're done. Just remember, depressurize the fuel line by unplugging the fuel pump first, or else when you unplug this, you're going to get fuel spraying all over the place. Not really fun. Don't want that in your car. And that's it. Don't smoke around it. You can disconnect the positive battery cable if you're really terrified. I don't. Yeah, that's about it.